have an idea that will stop this war. There's an existing being on this planet. Existing, not something that doesn't exist, existing. We can add our essence to it with a slain God. So they're talking about taking the DNA or genetics from one of themselves and mixing it with the DNA of the hominid that was here. It's not specified whether it was, an ape man or anything, but they don't specify in the tablets. But to create a worker being, and they began to do this genetic modification, probably disconnecting some of our DNA, making genetic modification to us to get us to take orders from them. They inserted something called a worship gene, which was just discovered recently.
All right, let's go ahead and just dive into it. What we're going to be talking about today is what was given to me subconsciously. And I'm going to bring it to y'all because this was a message for me to deliver to the world. And I'm not trying to say I'm this great person and all this, and I'm the higher of the higher ups, and I'm giving you this information. You need to hear it, you need to believe in me. No, it's not that. I'm just giving y'all some knowledge that was given to me subconsciously. Let's get that straight first and foremost. And you can either choose to believe it or not believe it. But I'm telling y'all, this stuff I know, I ain't had to fact check, but I did. Months later, I didn't have to, and it came to me. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. What we're going to be talking about right now is the Bible, the remakes. All right. We're going to talk about aliens. All right. And we're going to talk about Black history. All right. The things I've been talking about. But we're talking from a different perspective. We're speaking subconsciously. We're not speaking consciously. We're speaking subconsciously. See, I didn't think when this came to me. I had blank thoughts. I processed things. This is not of my mind, not of my conscious mind, it's of my subconscious mind. This is what I believe that Elon Musk is trying to rebuild. He's trying to recreate what has been activated inside me. And many others, maybe. I don't know. But I can only speak for myself. Let's go ahead and dive into the Bible, okay? Okay. Get my shades. Remember, I can't give y'all this story in 3 minutes. I have to give it to y'all however it's meant to be given to y'all, right? So I had to put the shades on because y'all might see me blink out or whatever because I'm acting in the subconscious. Let's go ahead. Okay. It's going to sound crazy, real crazy. But I got this video real quick that I want y'all to check out before I get into this. Let's go ahead and check it out.
I have an idea that will stop this war. There's an existing being on this planet. Existing, not something that doesn't exist, existing. We can add our essence to it with a slain God. So they're talking about taking the DNA or genetics from one of themselves and mixing it with the DNA of the hominid that was here. It's not specified whether it was, an ape man or anything, but they don't specify in the tablets. But to create a worker being, and they began to do this genetic modification, probably disconnecting some of our DNA, making genetic modification to us to get us to take orders from them. They inserted something called a worship gene, which was just discovered recently.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
This is a good way to segue into like what you do, and because these subjects, so many of these subjects, so many people have like an instantaneous reaction.
Yeah.
And that instantaneous reaction is, oh, hogwash.
Yeah.
If this was true, I would already know about it. It would be taught in universities.
Yeah.
It would all be. But then you find out, like, no one is really just kind of trying to piece stuff together, specifically talking about these ancient tablets, which are, to me, some of the most interesting things about ancient history, particularly what came out of ancient Sumer.
Yeah.
Ancient Sumer, when you look at their tablets and, like, what are they saying? And why would they dedicate so much time to talking about this stuff?
Exactly.
Why do they have pictures of giant, enormous people-looking things with like a humanoid with a tail sitting on their lap? Like, what is this? Just fiction?
Yeah.
Like, why would they detail this? And how do they have a representation of the solar system with the correct amount of planets and relatively the correct order and size? You know, it's not exact, but it's an artistic version of the real thing.
Yeah.
And how the hell 6,000, 5,000 years ago do they know that?
Yeah.
And what explanations do we have? Like, what's the conventional explanations when people try to dismiss what they knew in ancient Sumer?
Well, the conventional explanation is always going to the term mythology. They
Right.
throw mythology around, you know, left and right to cover up the fact that they have no clue or idea. So they turn it into mythology so they can kind of say it's all fantasy and fairy tales, and this is how they express themselves or how they understood the universe. It's all mythology, it's all fake, but in reality, it's not all fake.
So that's Billy Carson and that's Joe Rogan, and they're speaking about what I'm about to speak to y'all about. You know, how the Bible was remixed from tablets from 5,000 years ago, and how these people studied it, and they're going to tell y'all everything I'm about to tell you that I already knew. I just checked this video out today. What's today's date? July 21st. I knew this already. They still don't know what I know. But let's go ahead and jump into this right here. I don't need to hear all that real talk. I just want y'all to know y'all can go check out the Joe Rogan, Billy Carson, and then y'all get is about the Anunnakis. Okay, now let's go ahead and get into what I was telling y'all about the Bible. And some of y'all may not like to hear this, but y'all have to hear this. Y'all need to hear this. The Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. The story is real. But one thing you have to realize that the characters have different names, and then there are words that are misused. So the big thing about this in the world is you have to understand word usage. Word usage is everything. That was another word that came to me on my journey was word usage. See, when I say things to people, when I'm speaking to them, I have to make sure that it comes out the exact way that it's been processed in my head. If I use a different word, I'm not going to say it. I'll just stop and look like I'm thinking, but I'm really having blank thoughts and my mind is processing. It's learning how to remember, because I might go on a rocker way over here and then go way over here and then got to come back over here. And then it all ties in two. It all ties in two. I promise you. Every time. Just like now. All right. Okay. So, in the beginning of time, this is how it came to me subconsciously. First, there was alien. And I'll get to why they say alien and not Anunnaki. There were alien, and these beings created the human species. They created the human species to be somewhat of their slaves. What they're doing down there, I found out later, they're mining gold so they can place the particles back up in the sky to rebuild the ozone or whatever. I don't know. That's what was said. But this is what was given to me. They created the human species to be their workers, to be their slaves, so that they could rebuild, so that they could build up Earth, so that they can eventually come down with the humans and coexist. That was the whole plan from the start. We're going to give you all our technology we have. We're going to give you all our information we have. And y'all are going to use it. Y'all being the human species to evolve. See, but we want to be able to live amongst each other in harmony, coexist as one. You're made in our likeness, in our image. Our image. Our likeness being basically treating people how you want to be treated. I don't judge. I'm no better than you. As equals. So we want y'all, the human species, to get everything ready for us to come down. We're going to have a set time for us to come down. And we're going to see if the human species we created accept us with open arms. First sighting. It wasn't good. Scared the human species. They've never seen anything like this before. What did the Anunnakis do? Okay, they're not ready. The human species is not ready for us yet. So this is what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna ramp up that campaign. Y'all gonna normalize us, the Anunnakis. I don't know if they look like that in their realm. And when they come, they can shift into human beings. I don't know. But they wanted to be able to see if the species, the human species we created in our likeness, in our image, are going to take to us. No judgment. We can coexist as one. So they ramped up the alien campaign. I don't know where these green guys with big heads and big eyeballs were originated from. I don't know if that was how they looked. I don't. So they ramped up the campaign to normalize aliens. That's what they called them. Humans said they're aliens because they're not of here. When really, they are of here. So they ramp up the campaign. It's another alien sighting. People are still afraid. They're not ready. See, I believe the Anunnakis had the ability to be able to transform into their other image and then come back to human form. But I do know they had superhuman powers.